Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, this was one of the easiest decisions the judges had to make. The history of the London market resounds with iconic individuals who blazed the trail, establishing London as a centre of global insurance and ensuring more recently that it retains that title in the face of competition from new jurisdictions. And amongst them all, one man stands preeminent, never short of an opinion, and always willing to share it. It's not an exaggeration to say that this man has played an integral role in shaping the London market as we know today. This year's Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Robert Hiscox.
It is hugely rewarding to be given a prize, especially when you've been chairman of a company for 43 or 50, I can't remember, so many years, I can't remember. So people don't tend to tap the chairman on the shoulder and thank him. So it's very nice when outsiders come in and say such polite things as you've said. I have been prodded a lot recently to look over the past 47 years because somebody's writing a book about R&R. And I've been digging into files and finding some really wonderful letters I wrote. I must say, nothing got me more angry in those days than what was then called the Committee of Lloyds. And I used to sit down and write these papers and scribe. And I did do it deliberately because I thought one day, you know, I want this all recorded that I did think they were a bunch of absolute idiots who were running the thing straight at the rocks. I mean, my father died when I was 27, and 3 months later I wrote my first letter to the Committee of Lloyds. But fortunately, other people are finding them, and there's some real gems. But I did forecast that Lloyds would get into terrible trouble with its names and unlimited liability and all those things, and it was then saved. And I did think, as I've said widely in the newspapers, have been very kindly sort of quoting me because I'm about to step down from chairman, that you know, that the work we did to save Lloyds, which I think did a huge amount for the London market, was the proudest thing I've done. They are writing a book about it, so I hope I get some royalties. So I'm plugging the book now. I'm like one of these awful authors. But the new Lloyds companies that have grown out, and tonight we've had Beazley getting a prize and others, the things that grew out of Lloyds and have made the London market very strong, is something that I think we should all be proud of. And as our sainted editor, Richard Banks, said, you know, it's something the insurance industry we should be proud of. Where I always have to have a swing at somebody, don't I? I've done the FSA forcibly at the Insurance Day conference, which was very well received by the FSA. I've been invited to join them. But I found no trouble at all in stopping that. My absolute, you know, I do think the insurance industry is a hell of a good industry, and we have lack self-confidence to say so, and I hope you will use the Insurance Day organ. But when I hear our Prime Minister on the television, our populist, attention-seeking, approval-seeking, thinks that there are more people in flood-affected areas and are more people that hate insurance that will vote for him than like it. When I hear him saying, we need to take a tough approach, frankly, and it's important insurance companies do what they're meant to, which is to provide insurance to households, and we're going to make sure that happens. I mean, don't we pay all those claims beautifully? I mean, is there a great, huge amount of volume of complaints to insurance? No, there aren't. We won't go into banks. I've done them in another speech. You know, he tells us we should do what we're meant to do, and we bloody well do it, and we do it bloody well. Does the government do what they're supposed to do? Does it? He says that the government is spending $2 billion of our money, he'd make it out to be his money, on flood defences over the 4-year period. Well, I reached this evening for my computer and I looked up the ABI statistics, because it's always got me that when we pay £100 million, say, of flood damage to people, which we do occasionally, that's 20 million that goes in VAT to the government. So I looked up and I saw that in 2011, 6.9 billion of premiums were paid for insurance for households. Now, if there's a 50% loss ratio, I'll get that up to 7 because I can't do half of 6.9. I've been an underwriter. That's 3.5. Say that a lot of those, we spent 3.5 billion on claims. And say that's 50% loss ratio, I mean, very generous. Say that $1 billion of those went out in court awards, which don't pay VAT, which they didn't because we don't settle that amount, but I'll get it down to 2.5. So that 20%, doing very rough mathematics, is 500 million a year we pay in VAT on the damage that we repair for people in houses. So how can that bloody man say that we should step forward and do more? Because he's already getting, I won't mention 10 billion motor premiums, and I ask you to do the same math. All I'm saying is we make a huge contribution to tax. We all pay profits and tax, and basically we do a bloody good job. But if he expects us to insure, sorry, I'm going to finish shortly. When I get going, if he expects us to insure houses, which I then clicked houses on floodplains. I love Google, don't you? And he came up with a climate change committee which said that councils had been bribed. It's very easy to build houses on flat land next to rivers. And developers get the right to do it because they bribe the local council, or they pay them extra, and they say they'll do something about it, and they won't. So, I mean, the government has allowed building in lots and lots of places they should never have done so. And to come forward now and say, we must pay for that. We are not the National Health. We are not here to just pay regardless. And I'm going to stop there because...